Hello, my name's Harriton Buatco. With us, we have Ricky Avancenia, political analyst. He also he writes in the broadsheets as well as go on radio on DZRB, right?
Yeah, Radyo ng Bayan.
Radyo ng Bayan. Yeah, I like that station. I know where it is. Ricky, let's go back to the issue. Let's look at the other perceptions that have been created about the president. There's two sides, for and against. Obviously, I seem to hear those against, and I like to hear, but I do read some that are for. Just this morning, I was listening to Rogelio Singson, and I was surprised the amount of work and how he's breaking it down, and money and the logistics, the nightmare logistics of trying to get workers to build all these places. And yet, just last night, I was listening to Kit Tatad here on GNN, and he was saying, alam niyo po, sabi niya, I'll mimic him a little bit. Ang ginagawa ng housing dyan sa Yolanda ay 18 square meters per pamilya. Ang isang pamilya, ilang tao? Mga 4, 5, with no sensitivity to gender, kasi sama-sama sila. In a small 18, this stage is bigger than 18 square meters.
Sure.
No, so, issues like that. And then there is this issue he brings up in one other issue. I'll just point it out, just one more item. He says the United Nations sent 2,000 tons of tents that came into the country, and it disappeared. Now, just on those 2 points, without going to the other salient points that are pros and anti, how do you think the president, his perception, the perception of him being the leader, has it fared in this last devastation?
Well, you know, when we are caught unawares by a massive natural calamity, then we saw it in Hurricane Sandy.
Yes.
Obama was running for, before that, Katrina,
Sandy.
and President George Bush was the one. But, in the States...
Sandy was in New Jersey, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Sandy was the last one in Jersey.
In Jersey.
So, in the last one, Obama was running, the presidential elections for the U.S. were going on full steam. And then, but they get together. They somehow, bitter and divided as they are politically, when there's a typhoon or a calamity or a hurricane, they get together. For example, the Republican governor of New Jersey, Doug Christie, who is, he's a presidential now, went out of his way. Nagalit nga yung mga Tea Party, yung mga right-winger, na bakit siya, he met Obama, because, it's a calamity. So,
Unified.
Everybody, get together. So that is the appeal. I air this appeal to everyone, that it's easy to criticize and to, but hey, what do you want? The defense secretaries already said they were not prepared for the magnitude. When this happened, the mightiest military power in the world, the U.S., had invaded Afghanistan. They invaded Iraq. They were, militarily successful. Pagtama ng Katrina, lupay-pay din si George W. Bush. What did they do? They created FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So now that this has happened to us, maybe it's about time that, everybody who has input, put it in. I do know, even as we speak, that there are moves, there are people who are crafting legislation or executive orders to address this issue. So I think, I'd rather not go there. Of course, there are many. I don't have to defend the government. There are many shortcomings. But, hey, what do you expect? They already admitted they weren't prepared for this magnitude. So let's get together, get your inputs in, and the next typhoon or the next calamity, let's hope we're better prepared. No, we better make sure we're better prepared.
So, you don't think less of him after the Pinoy bashing after Yolanda, because there was quite a lot of it, even from foreign media.
Yeah.
No less Amanpour threatened the president inadvertently, saying that you will be judged accordingly. And true enough, of course, with the help of Corina Sanchez, it only aggravated it. Lumala lang. Now, he's been hit many, many times. He's going down there doing photo ops and having problems. And yet, the work continues. And I agree with you, the devastation was overwhelming by any measure. Even the amount, the speed was unthinkable. The speed of the winds, diba? And the destruction, the devastation is unimaginable. But now, it's a reality. We've seen it. And the problem is, did he do well or not as a leader? Yan, parang ganun. Because I hear the bashing, iinis na ako because everything is negative. But then again, when I listen to Channel 2, or at least the biased media, or certain newspapers, I see the other side. I see another point of view. Like this morning, I was quite taken aback by Rogelio Singson. I have nothing against him. To me, he's not political. So I just listened to the reports. Pitilla is political. What's his name? Mar Rojas is political, a poor guy. And what's his name? Dinky Soliman is extremely political. And yet, the bashing, whatever they do represents the Presidente. Because they are the extension, the cabinet.
Yes.
So, the perception of the President is what I talk about. And I hear it, and then I hear the President's men talking. And I'm not sure I know what the news is, what the truth is. Is it the truth that we're building 18 square meters? I don't know if these statistics are correct or not. Is it true that we lost, 2,500 heavy-duty tents coming from the United Nations? Is it true we're getting MREs being sold in Metro Manila, taken from there? Because I heard another report of a wholesaler. Sinasabi niya, I've been selling MREs for the last 15 years. I buy them from the GIs, yung mga puti. Binibili ng mga Pilipino. Why not? What's wrong with that? And I'm like, And yet, the news came out, parang binibenta ng, parang si Dinky Soliman ang masama dito, di ba? Kinukuha niya. Di ba? You've heard this side.
Yes, but I'll tell you what the truth is as far as the disaster relief operations and, how they're addressing it. The truth of the matter is they're doing absolutely everything that can be done. And the money is not being stolen from the people on top. Now, you get down to the local level, I don't know. I don't know. Alam mo, sa totoo, that comes into question, that puts into question that whole barangay system. Parang, asan na yung mga barangay officials? Di ba? Parang, ang sinasabi pa ng ibang aid agency, wag natin idaan sa barangay officials. Diba? But they're at the very bottom of the...
Grassroots.
They're the grassroots, right? This is your delivery system, in effect. So, we will have to address that. But, I was talking to some people.
Nice, I like that. I like your argument. Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, but short of that, if we will bypass the barangay people, then we will need something like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, a professional core of people who will be on the ground level, at least in all the regions, who will be able to dispense all the relief, and all the money will be coursed through them, and all the aid will be coursed through them. And they'll do that professionally, and hopefully they can tap. But it has to be not an ad hoc thing, or not like the NDRM, ang hirap ito.
NDRMC. Ang haba.
Yun na lang, pangalan na lang, mali na, ang haba. But it has to be not a coordinating center, but an ongoing thing. I remember in China when they had the rains forever, and then tuloy-tuloy lang ulit. What did they? They put 1 million soldiers on the banks of the rivers and started sandbagging. That didn't stop the...
continues.
The flood. Some towns were flooded. Yeah. But in the end, the same trucks that brought the sand were the same trucks that brought the rice for the relief. And the soldiers were on the ground. And then the people were already helping them with the sandbag. I mean, all I'm saying is disaster preparedness should be an ongoing thing. This should be something we will work on year-round. We should be having exercises.
Do you realize the President vetoed the budget for the disaster preparedness in 2011? That's the interesting part. And yet, he was faced with this devastation. Yun ang nagiging naiiba. I agree with you, we should have a FEMA. Actually, we do. We require it. And I agree with you. I like your argument that the government is doing what it can, but let's not blame the administration for the work of the barangay and the local sector. Because it can go back. Because we've heard a lot of stories as well on the ground.
Yes.
And the timing of the barangay election, and when the new barangay leader comes on, and they're the ones who really control the relief goods. Parang ganun nangyayari. That's a good argument. I enjoy that. But would GMA have done better? Would Ramos have done better? Could he have managed that? Because in the last election in 2010, next to Pinoy was Estrada, with 8 million votes. Could he have managed better than this administration, in your mind?
Well, I'm not going to go there too much, but all I know is that when Gibo was Secretary of Defense, he was the head of the NDRMMC, and he was, if he had handled Ondoy well, he would probably be president. All I'm saying,
like you, I will defend what's his name, Ondoy and Gibo. he couldn't get to it. The traffic.
Hindi, yun na nga eh. So, you know, that happened to Gibo. I'm not faulting him.
Sabagay, you're right.
That happens to
that's
Mar. You know, there's footage I saw of Mar Rojas and Secretary Gasbin. In Leyte, when it happened, sila mismo takot na takot. You know, if you're in the mid... But so the next day they wake up, they're also dazed. You know? So all I'm saying is, we don't know the solution, but it has to be massive, it has to be from the top, it has to be supported by a lot of money. And then it has to be an ongoing thing.
Do you agree
it's good for nation building to have civil defense exercises, to get together, not really to fight foreign invaders, but just simply to protect our communities. What
devastation,
happens? Yes. Now, you know, in Aurora, which is beside the Pacific coast, sa Baler, gano'n, ang bilis na. Pagka may tsunami alert, tawagan, may umiikot.
Sanay na lahat doon ng mga tao doon.
Oo, saka siyempre, takot naman lahat eh.
Diba? Pero importante sanay sila.
Oo, sanay sila. So, but in the beginning, the first exercises, biglang hindi naman pala dumating yung bagyo. Nagagalit yung tao, parang umalis pa kami, gano'n. But then when they see now the devastation that happens everywhere else, okay na lang yun. Ano ba naman yung lumikas ka for a night or two or three, di ba? And the same thing happened in India. So we have other countries we can learn from. In India, the last cyclone that hit them, they said, oh, ganito kalakas yung cyclone. Magnitude ganito, ang winds, ganyan, ganyan. And the last cyclone that hit them that hard, they lost 7,000 people. Well, the last cyclone that was about to come, they moved 1 million people. Everybody was griping. Parang, why are we moving? Hey, after that, when they returned to their homes, they saw everything was wiped out. They were thankful. So, from 7,000, from a cyclone of that magnitude, it went down to about 30 dead. So, you know, we just forget. But
to save one life is best. To save more is even better.
Yeah, but you know, we forget that in Ormoc, that tragedy years ago, 7,000 yun, one wipeout. 7,000.
Oh, one go.
One go. Ito, 4 hours of hurricane winds, yung Yolanda, di ba? So
but
anyway,
we don't know the numbers. That's another issue.
Sure enough. Sure enough. The numbers, we will not be able to fudge. The numbers will come out, and when it comes out, everyone will have to accept it.
Pinoy was hit, again, criticized by an international newsprint, saying that he was smudging the numbers, trying to hold down the casualties for reasons nobody knows.
I think, and then again, but I cannot speak
for
him.
Foreign media yan.
Oh, pero ito yung kanya. I think he was hoping against hope that it would not be that high.
Which is true. I saw
and
that
then
day.
he was getting numbers from the ground. Saying, ito pang nawawala eh. Hindi pa natin alam kung patay lahat yan eh. So, you know, the guy probably was wishing against hope, or hoping against hope that the numbers will stay very low. Surely, we did not imagine that yung mga nawawala, karamihan pala, malamang baka namatay na. But you know, like I say, let's not fault the guy because the numbers will come out. When they do come out, everyone will have to accept them. These will be the numbers, and the numbers, of course, are the real numbers.
Let's go to Mars. Whatever Mar Rojas does will reflect on the president being part of his cabinet. Is it fair, the perception that's been generated of him, he's had to even defend himself on TV, saying even, promoting the fact that, hey, if you want, gusto nyo, you can take my job if you think this is a thankless job. To a point, he got into frustration. Of course, there is the rumors or there's the infighting between Romualdez being a Marcos versus the Aquino and that sort of thing. Is it fair that Mar is getting a poor showing based on perceptions?
Well, I'll tell you what. The thing is, you know, when you are a cabinet secretary or president, you really
titirahin ka talaga.
No. Bago ka...
Bakit? Totoo yun, ha?
Titirahin ka. Pagkatapos, kailangan mag-ingat ka rin sa sasabihin mo. Di ba? I have the luxury to be able to say what I want.
Yeah, you're not there.
I'm not there. But you know, at the end of the day, Mar shouldn't have said that. By the same token, the president probably shouldn't have said to that guy in Leyte, buti ka, buhay ka eh. Pero alam mo, ako, wala ako sa gobyerno. Sasabihin ko doon sa taong yun, yung businessman, lumapit sa Pangulo. Mr. President, hinold up ako papunta rito. Alam mo, sasagot ko doon? Eh, buti ka, buhay ka eh. Ano gusto mong gawin ko? Kung ako yung Pangulo, parang, ano kakala mong gusto mong gawin ng Pangulo? Hulihin yung tao ng hold up sa'yo? Hindi naman security guard yan. Hindi naman police yan. When you come up to the President, you have to give him the big picture. Parang, bossing, anong gagawin natin? Ganon. Eh, yung isa umaangal dahil tinutukan daw siya. Eh, siyempre, chaos na nga sa kalye, di ba? So, yan. Hindi niya dapat sinabi, but I can understand where he comes from. Same with Mar. I didn't hear him say that. But if you say, he said, kung gusto nyo, yun na itong trabaho to, eh siyempre, 3 linggo yung tao doon, araw-araw, yun nakaharap niya. Di ba?
Ako,
So, at a certain point, kung kaya ba naman yung gawin to, sige, gawin na nyo. Okay, hindi nila dapat sabihin yon, pero tao din sila. Ako, pwede ko sabihin yun. At sinasabi ko sa lahat, kung meron sa inyo sa tingin nyo mas magaling kayo, sige, padala nyo yung bio-data dito sa palasyo. Who wants to deal with that? Who wants to have breakfast amidst dead bodies? Nobody wants that.
but there's the perception also of the president and his men being a student council presidency. You've heard this before. It's gone all around town in the last 2-3 years because it's called kabarilan, kaklase, hindi ka mag-anak kaibigan.
Sure. Well, yung sa mga klase, alam ko yung high school batch niya, ni isa walang nakapwesto. May isa ata kaming consultant na kaklase. But for the rest of it,
actually, in this case, it's all the people that he sat around in Congress. Alcala, Proceso Alcala. Of course, Biazon letter B, A, B, C, N, di ba?
Okay.
Yung pag-uupo
Pero Harry, alam mo yung I don't know what numbers we can go by, but if we go by the surveys, the different survey groups, he still has a preponderant majority of the people behind him. So, if that is student council politics, by all means, let us have more of it. If that is the way the people will respond to you, by all means. I don't know what's wrong with that per se, but maybe it's a bit... I'll tell you what, this president doesn't do the way things are usually done, and it upsets people like Kitata who only know how to do one thing, one way, all the time, all their lives. So it really is upsetting. If you think you have a lock on things, if you think there is only one way to do things, which is the traditional political way, which is to kiss the babies, slap the backs, induct officers, throw jump balls in inauguration of Liga, photo op, gano'n. Kung yun lang alam mo, magagalit ka sa Pangulong ito. Dahil iba siya. So like I say, he's very transparent. It may not sit well with many people who know better, or who think they know better, or who say they know better. But I myself, I'm big on image. We like the magsaysay's. We like the Quezons who make you feel proud, who make you feel...
History yan eh.
Okay. Then again, when you say, this guy, he talks... I like the way he talks in the SONA because he talks to every other guy. This is the first president that... tsaka yung Tagalog niya medyo gumagamit ng mga salita na hindi naman malalim. Hindi yung pangbalarila, kumbaga. Yung Tagalog niya, wang-wang. Yung mga ganito.
Okay,
di ba? So medyo adapted.
Mabigat. Well, kasi hindi ako magaling managalog kaya nahirapan ako ng konti.
At saka admittedly yung delivery niya ng huli, medyo mabilis. Parang hindi siya enjoy. Parang gusto niya tapusin agad. Admittedly, baka mabilis na konti. But, if people understand him, if he's able to get his message across, that's fine. But, you will always have the people who only know when they want a president who will give them crap or bull.
Ricky, it is refreshing that, like I said before we took a break in the second part, that you are here and we're talking to the president in a good light, in a different perception that we should do. You're right. We have to give him a break. And I'm glad that someone's here to sit there and, in all honesty, wholeheartedly, you come out with different points of views that does not exist here in GNN. And I'm glad that I wish we had more of this here. Hindi, kasi talagang ang feeling ko nalalopsided na kami. And I have to agree with you. There are many parts there, but many of our hosts are also so anti, I guess. Maybe we were so anti-GMA that when it happened, he had to perform or outperform GMA. There are many issues about Pinoy, and you're not the right person to talk to with these issues, but anything goes wrong, we tend to blame the president. You realize that?
Yes.
It's always the case. Anyway, we're ending the show, Ricky. Would you like to give a short message, now that I've told you more or less the character, the biases that we seem to have as far as the hosts here in GNN? I mean, and I would like to extend to you, I think you should do a show. You should do TV. You're very good at it. Like your brother, Gay was very good on TV. He took it very naturally. I think it's in your family, that all you guys. Diba? But congratulations on that, and I appreciate it. Would you like to give a short message to the viewers? Because a lot of our viewers, if we've been doing this for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, and we've been bashing him, maybe it's really not all that fair, and maybe we are creating a perception that is not true and not real, and living in our ideals thinking we are all correct. It's not necessarily true. I mean, what is the truth? It's hard to say, which is why I created that topic. Would you like to give a short message to our viewers?
Well, first of all, Harry, when I get home, I will be contacting people I know just to make sure I'm safe. Apparently, you know, I told you, I was joking in my Facebook wall about me entering the lion's den. Well, this lion's den is not all that bad. It's quite comfortable, actually. But I do know that the bias of this station.
See?
Well, I've stopped.
This is what I mean.
Okay. But, you know, then again, I may not be the right person to get for this. You know, like I say, I don't work for government. Now, do I have a message? Yes. I have a program on 738 a.m. every Friday, 9 to 10 in the morning. It's in Radyo ng Bayan, 738 kilohertz on your AM dial. And you can also access it through internet radio. It's at pbs.gov.ph. Go to that site and then click the Radyo ng Bayan icon. I'm there 9 to 10 Fridays. And, well, that's it. And for the rest of, I'd like to thank you, Harry, for having me here. And then I'd like to also appeal to everyone, let us not be nattering nabobs of negativism, which is the only thing memorable that Spyro Agnew, the former Vice President of the U.S., ever said, aside from being kicked out of office for corruption. But having said that, let us pull together during these times of a crisis, because it is in the fire that the steel is forged. Our citizenry should come out of this crisis, we should become a better people, a better race. We should become sturdier, and we should let us not touch on the criticizing the relief efforts. Let us put our input in, and I'm really not comfortable defending the government at all, am I?
Okay, Ricky. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to end the show. Ricky, thank you very much, in all honesty. Seriously, I am refreshed. I'm sure we here in GNN are all refreshed. At least we can call on somebody that at least stands up for the government. And like you said, it is a lion den. Ladies and gentlemen, alam nyo, totoo naman yun eh. Naging lion's den na kami kasi lahat, wala na magawang tama ang gobyerno pagdating sa amin. At hindi naman kami parati tama, hindi rin kami parating mali din. Ang maganda lang, ang demokrasya po natin, maganda naman yung may oversight. Tayo mga tao, dapat naman may role tayo. We can complain. We can bring these issues up. But it's important that somebody debates us on it. So that at the end of the day, you who are listening, alam mo, anong tama, ano hindi. Hindi, mas gusto ko yung argument niya, gusto ko yung argument niya. At least, hindi yung dalawa kami, nag-uusap kami, tatlo kami, pero lahat kami galit sa isang kalaban. Walang kalaban-laban eh. Kung ikaw, I don't like you, kinakalaban kita, pero wala ka dito, nanonood ka, wala kang laban. Parang ganun lang po yun eh. Ricky, thank you so much.
Salamat, Harry.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Do you like the feel of TV? You are what you watch.